Are you a hedonist? Hey guys, happy Friday. Welcome back to Fearless Fridays. Today is Friday, June 25th. This is episode 94 of Fearless Fridays. As always, I welcome you to the show, whether it's your first time watching or your return watcher. Welcome, welcome, welcome back. So this week I heard this new phrase. I'm going to tell you what the phrase is in a second. And I wanted to share the idea of this with you. But before I share that, I want to ask you, are you a hedonist? I think most of us know what a hedonist is, or we know what hedonism is. If you don't know what that word means, a hedonist is basically a person who is in constant pursuit of pleasure. And they may even believe that the highest calling of their life, or the whole goal, purpose of life, is to find pleasure, is to seek pleasure, is to have and constantly experience pleasure. Right? So that's what a hedonist is. And so the phrase that I heard this week, the idea of this phrase is familiar to me, but I never heard this term before. And the term is the hedonic treadmill, or the hedonistic treadmill. Now, maybe some of you have heard that before. Maybe I'm the one who's late to the party. I don't know. But I want to talk to you about this today, the hedonic treadmill or the hedonistic treadmill. And I'm going to read the definition so I don't jack it up in my explanation. A hedonic treadmill is the tendency of a person to remain at a relatively stable level of happiness despite a change in fortune or the achievement of major goals. The hedonic treadmill is also referred to as the hedonistic treadmill. So, the idea of the hedonic treadmill is what I want to talk to you about today. And it basically says, let me just give you an example after that definition. So say, for example, you get a new promotion at work, and the new promotion comes with a new coveted job title that you've always wanted. It comes with that new corner office that you've always wanted. It comes with more access to luxury or luxury items. It comes with more money. It comes with more access to certain people. It comes with a certain level in your social class, a kind of a rise in your level in your social class. The idea of the hedonic treadmill says that even after that spike of happiness due to the achievement of that goal, or due to the attainment of all of these new things, even after that spike in happiness, your happiness will eventually return to where it was or stay the same as it was before you achieved that goal, before you had that spike in happiness, before you achieved all of that new access, all of that new money, all of those things, all of those goals that you coveted. On the flip side, let's say you lose your job. You lose all the money, you lose the corner office, you lose the title, you lose the access to luxury, you lose the access to people, you lose the rise in your social status because you've lost your job. The hedonic treadmill says that your level of happiness will remain relatively the same, or return to where it was before you lost the job, before you had that dip in goals, before you had that loss of achievement. And so basically, your level of happiness stays the same whether you have a rise or a fall. It basically stays the same, or eventually will return to the same level. And that really got me thinking, because we live, our Western culture, our US culture is very much about getting the bag, hustling, chasing the bag, chasing the money. Our social media culture is about showing everybody what we have. I'm going to show you the trip. I'm going to show you the car. I'm going to show you the jewels. I'm going to show you the blinged out wedding. I'm going to show you my big house, my new car, my amazing, 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 amazing life. That's what social media does, right? It shows us all of those things, and we spend our time chasing after those things. We spend that time chasing after those exterior pleasures, being hedonistic. We spend our time being hedonistic because we think that that is going to make us happy. We think that the new shiny, flashy luxury car is going to make us happy. We think that the new big house is going to make us happy. We think that the job with all of that money and all of that luxury is going to make us happy. We think that all of those exterior pleasures, all of that hedonism is going to make us happy. But what happens when that shiny car in the garage of that big mansion with the big pool that you got because you got the amazing job making millions of dollars, you got the new corner office, and you can work from the yacht, or you can, you have the new title. What happens when all of those exterior things don't make us any happier than we were before? But we're on the hedonic treadmill. We're chasing that. We're chasing that hedonism. We're chasing those exterior pleasures. And what happens when those exterior pleasures don't actually give us a boost in happiness? Also, what happens when you lose those exterior pleasures? Because sometimes we lose those exterior pleasures and we realize, wow, I'm still pretty happy. I'm still pretty content. You might realize that. You may not. You may realize that you're actually not very happy at all. But then you also realize that those things were the things that you were using to achieve happiness in your life. And so I feel like in a way we might all kind of be on the hedonic treadmill. We're all chasing exterior pleasures, but but those exterior pleasures are not bringing us happiness. And we chase those things because there is fear. I'm going to bring everything back to fear. Maybe as a kid you grew up and you didn't have all the necessities of life. And so you chase that money, you chase that job, you chase that next big deal, you chase the bag constantly because you fear not having what you need. You fear not having enough. Or because of social media, we fear the comparison of what we have to what other people seem to have. That comparison causes fear within us. And we fear the judgment that comes with not having certain things, with not being able to do certain things, with not achieving certain goals. But what really makes us happy? Is it the car? Is it the big old house? Is it the corner office? Is it being able to work from the yacht? I mean, all of those things are great. I want to work from a yacht. All of those things are amazing. But if none of those things are bringing you real happiness, and your level of happiness is going to return to basically where it was before the yacht, before the car, before the house, before all of that, then that makes me wonder, what's really bringing us our happiness? Is it those outside things? Or is it something that comes from within us? Is it something that's a little bit more valuable? Maybe it's having community. Maybe it's having family. Maybe it's, believing that you're walking in purpose. Maybe it's knowing that you're connected to God, knowing that God created you for a very specific purpose, and walking in that purpose is what can bring true value to your life and true happiness, rather than doing the thing that's just going to bring you a lot of money so you can get the car and the house and the yacht and the jewels and the whatever. So I thought this idea of the hedonic treadmill was really, really interesting. And I had to ask myself, where am I on this spectrum, I guess? Where am I in this? Am I constantly chasing pleasure? Am I constantly chasing hedonism or a hedonistic lifestyle? Am I constantly chasing pleasure thinking that that's going to make me happy? Or am I doing what I believe I was meant to do, knowing that my happiness comes from somewhere else, but it doesn't come from external things? And I want to ask you that. Are you constantly chasing pleasure? Are you constantly chasing the next big item, constantly chasing the bag, chasing the new big deal, chasing the promotion at work, or chasing the ability to buy this car or that house or buy the yacht, or comparing yourself to other people who you may not even know, people you may not even like, but you think they have all these things and you think that's the standard. So you think you have to have all these things. So you're constantly chasing those things. But you recognize at some point, if you stop chasing or if you slow down long enough, you'll recognize that those things aren't really things that are bringing you happiness. Those things aren't really, those things are not really helping you achieve happiness. Those things aren't helping you maintain your happiness. And do you even stop chasing long enough, or do you slow down your chase long enough to recognize that those things are not going to bring you happiness? These are the questions that I have about the hedonic treadmills. And the idea of this is very familiar to me. We've all seen I don't know, maybe you haven't, but I've seen recently a meme of a person who has like a stick from the back of their head extending in front of them, and dangling from the stick is like this big wad of money, and they're constantly chasing, constantly chasing, constantly chasing the money. And of course, they're never going to get to it because it's attached to them. So they're never going to be able to reach out and grab it. And they chase that money all the way into the grave. That's hedonism. That's hedonism. And being on the hedonic treadmill means that your happiness is going to stay relatively the same, whether you catch that money or don't catch that money. So then the goal, rather than the goal being to chase the money, chase the bag, chase the next big thing, the goal ought to be, or needs to be, maybe we can shift the goal so that it is being mindful of the happiness that you are truly experiencing, and recognizing that if you are not actually happy, if you're not actually content, if you don't actually have any joy, figure out what brings you joy. But that requires sitting still long enough and getting away from the chase, or stopping the chase long enough to sit with yourself and be aware of what's happening around you. Be aware of the reality of your life. Be aware of the reality of your experience, and ask yourself, am I truly happy? If nothing else big ever happened, if I just continued to live my life and had my circle of friends and had my family and, living out what I believe is my purpose, am I happy with that? That's the question. That's the question. And that's what I want to leave you guys with this week. The idea of the hedonic treadmill, and recognizing that no matter the achievement, no matter the loss, your level of happiness is gonna level out to where it was before the achievement or the loss. So make sure you're happy before the achievement, so that when the achievement comes, you know that that is not the thing that is making you happy. You know that you have your happiness, you have your joy, you have your peace, you have your contentment. And then the achievement comes, the money comes, the yacht comes, the big house comes, the flashy car comes, and you're like, yeah, all of those things are great and I can enjoy those things, but those things do not define my happiness. That's what I want to leave with you guys. So, I ask you again, are you a hedonist? As always, the euphoria of fearlessness trumps the comfort of staying safe. I'll see y'all next week.